Clint Walker was born Norman Eugene Walker on May 30th, 1927 in Hartford, Illinois, into a working-class family shaped by the hardships of the Great Depression. Raised alongside his twin sister Lucille, Walker learned discipline and self-reliance early in life. He left high school to take on physically demanding jobs, including factory work and riverboat labor, experiences that hardened both his body and his character. During World War II, he served honorably in the Merchant Marine, further reinforcing his sense of duty and structure. Standing 6 feet 6 inches tall with a powerful build and resonant voice, Walker possessed a natural presence that drew attention long before Hollywood entered the picture. Yet he remained grounded, valuing humility over ambition. These early years forged the personality that would later define him. Reserved, principled, and resistant to ego. Long before fame arrived, Walker's identity was rooted in work ethic and quiet strength. Becoming Cheyenne Bowdy Walker's life changed dramatically in 1955 when he was cast as Cheyenne Bodie in the television Western Cheyenne. The series became the first hour-long Western to achieve major network success, transforming Walker into one of television's earliest superstars. As Cheyenne, he portrayed a wandering cowboy guided by moral clarity, restraint, and justice. Audiences responded deeply to the character's calm authority and physical presence, seeing in him an idealized vision of American masculinity. The show ran for 8 seasons, cementing Walker's status as a cultural icon. Unlike flashier Western heroes, Cheyenne Bodie rarely spoke more than necessary, relying instead on action and principle. Walker's own temperament aligned closely with the role, making his performance feel authentic. At a time when television heroes often lean toward bravado, Walker offered steadiness. His success helped define the Western genre and established him as a symbol of dignity during a rapidly changing era. A career beyond television. Though best known for Cheyenne, Clint Walker successfully expanded into film, proving his appeal extended beyond television. He appeared in westerns such as Yellowstone Kelly and Night of the Grizzly, films that showcased both physical power and emotional restraint. His most famous film role came in The Dirty Dozen, 1967, where he played Samson Posey, a gentle giant whose quiet intelligence contrasted sharply with his lethal efficiency. The role demonstrated Walker's ability to subvert expectations, offering subtlety beneath brute strength. Despite frequent typecasting, Walker sought opportunities to broaden his range, including voice acting and guest appearances later in his career. While he never pursued celebrity aggressively, his consistent professionalism earned respect across the industry. Unlike many contemporaries, Walker avoided scandals and maintained a steady career across decades. His film work complemented his television legacy, reinforcing his image as a dependable, disciplined performer rather than a Hollywood showman. A private and grounded life off-screen, Clint Walker lived a notably private life, marked by long-term commitment rather than spectacle. He married 3 times, each marriage lasting nearly 2 decades, reflecting his preference for stability. His first marriage to Vera Garver produced a daughter, Valerie, who would later become one of the first female airline pilots in the United States. Walker was deeply proud of her achievements. Personal tragedy struck when Valerie died in a motorcycle accident, a loss Walker bore with characteristic quiet strength. He later survived a near-fatal skiing accident in 1971, when a ski pole pierced his heart, an ordeal that added to his reputation for resilience. Despite these hardships, Walker remained humble and approachable, maintaining close contact with fans through letters and conventions. He valued family, loyalty, and routine over fame. This grounded personal life stood in contrast to Hollywood's volatility and shaped how Walker viewed the industry and those within it. Warner Brothers, and built-in rivalries. During the late 1950s, Warner Brothers dominated television westerns, producing multiple hit series simultaneously. Clint Walker's Cheyenne and James Garner's Maverick were flagship shows, but their contrasting tones created an unspoken rivalry. Maverick relied on humor and irony, while Cheyenne emphasized moral seriousness. Studio executives often encouraged comparison, subtly pitting stars against one another to generate publicity. Walker, who disliked manipulation, found this environment uncomfortable. He believed the studio fostered competition at the expense of professionalism. Though Walker and Garner rarely worked directly together, they were frequently mentioned in the same breath by the press. For Walker, acting was a job that required discipline and respect for authority. He viewed the studio system as something to work within, not against. This philosophical difference would later contribute to tension, not rooted in personal animosity, but in fundamentally opposing approaches to career, authority, and public conduct. Conflicting temperaments. James Garner was known for his outspoken nature and willingness to challenge studio executives, traits that earned him admiration from some and frustration from others. Clint Walker, by contrast, was reserved and deeply loyal to production crews and contracts. When Garner famously sued Warner Brothers in 1960 and won, many hailed him as a rebel who stood up to corporate power. Walker, however, reportedly viewed the situation differently. To him, professionalism meant honoring commitments and resolving disputes quietly. Accounts from those close to Walker suggest he disliked public confrontations and sarcasm, qualities often associated with Garner's public persona. This difference in temperament created distance rather than open conflict. While Garner thrived on wit and confrontation, Walker preferred restraint and silence. Neither approach was inherently wrong, but they reflected opposing worldviews. Over time, these differences hardened into personal discomfort. Walker did not engage in feuds, yet he reportedly found Garner's style incompatible with his own values. Words that lingered. According to multiple secondary accounts, remarks attributed to Garner about Walker's acting ability deeply affected Walker, though they were never addressed publicly. Walker, who had long struggled against being dismissed as merely a physical presence, worked hard to earn recognition as a serious actor. Any implication that he lacked depth reportedly struck a nerve. However, Walker chose silence rather than confrontation, a pattern consistent with his character. He rarely spoke ill of colleagues and avoided fueling gossip. In later interviews, he sidestepped questions about Garner, responding with measured comments about professionalism and respect. One oft-quoted remark about walking one's path with decency is widely interpreted as indirect but not accusatory. Walker's refusal to name names underscores his discomfort with public disputes. The resentment, if it existed, remained internal. Rather than escalating tension, Walker allowed distance to grow, embodying his belief that character is revealed through conduct, not commentary. Retirement and reflection. As westerns declined in popularity, Clint Walker gradually stepped away from acting, choosing peace over reinvention. He remained connected to fans and embraced his legacy without chasing relevance. His later years were defined by quiet companionship with his third wife, Susan Cavallari, and time spent away from Hollywood. Walker rarely revisited past tensions, preferring reflection over resentment. Those close to him describe a man who forgave easily, but never forgot how actions revealed character. He believed integrity mattered more than fame. While he never publicly reconciled with James Garner, neither did he seek closure through confrontation. Walker's silence was deliberate, not bitter. He lived by the principle that dignity required restraint. In retirement, he focused on family, correspondence, and simple routines. His perspective on Hollywood remained cautious, but not cynical. He accepted that the industry shaped people differently, and he chose to step aside with grace rather than compete in a world that no longer aligned with his values. A quiet end to a strong life. Clint Walker passed away on May 21, 2018 in Grass Valley, California, just days shy of his 91st birthday. The cause was congestive heart failure, following a gradual decline kept private by family. He was survived by his wife Susan, his daughter Valerie's legacy, a grandson, and extended family who remembered him as gentle and loyal. Tributes poured in celebrating not only his iconic role as Cheyenne Bodie, but his humility and decency off-screen. Walker's death marked the end of an era defined by principled heroes and restrained masculinity. His life reminds us that strength does not require noise, and disagreement does not require hostility. While rumors of rivalry persist, Walker's legacy rests on consistency, integrity, and quiet endurance. He left behind a body of work that continues to resonate, and a reputation shaped less by conflict than by character. In the end, Clint Walker stood firm, walked his own path, and let history speak for him.